This is Geometry, Unit 2, Day 1. This is about translations. As we look through our notes, a transformation moves or changes a figure in some way to produce a new figure called an image. A transformation, there's many different types of transformations. Whenever you adjust a figure, it's called a type of transformation, and it makes an image. Another name for the original figure is a pre-image. This is what we start with. This is what we would end with. You start with your pre-image, and you end with your image. If the original point is called P, the new point is called P prime. That's how you say it. And it's written a capital P with your dash right above it. A translation moves every figure, every point in the figure, the same distance and also in the same direction. So a translation is going to be considered a slide. We're going to take the figure, slide it over an X distance and a Y distance, and it gives it a new location called the image. Using the graph at the right, how would you describe the translation from point A to point A prime? When we look here, it's moving to the left 8 units. So we would say, how would we describe it? Moves 8 units left. And then it's also going to move 2 units up. We first move to the right, because we typically talk about the X first, and then we will move up. It moved over 8 units, and then it went up 2 units. If you wanted to use the same translation for a new point, where would B prime be located? So if we had our new point at 2, -2, we know that that point should move 8 units to the left and still move 2 units up. One way you can think about that is taking your X value, subtracting 8 from it, because it moves 8 units left, which means negative. It goes to the left, which puts us at -6. And our Y is going to move 2 units up. Negative means to the left, +2 means up. So we're starting with our point of -2 and we're moving up 2 more. So our B prime location is going to be -6, 0. You can see that here on the graph. If a point C were located at X, Y, that means any point on the x-axis, xy axis, where would C prime be located? If we were moving that same amount, we would say that our original X, Y is going to move, this is a transformation symbol, not just translation, but transformation. So we're going to move every X value to the left 8 and every y value up to. This is what a rule would look like. It's called a rule for a translation. When it's in this format of an x value plus or minus any amount and a y value plus or minus any amount, you know that every point of your preimage is being moved that same amount. The coordinate notation for a translation is our x comma y, x plus a, that's some distance, and y plus b. If a or b were negative, then it would be y minus some amount, which shows that each point x comma y in figure 1 is going to be translated to the right. Because if we look here at the figure, it's moving, following the arrows, it's moving to the right in A units, and then it's moving up B units. Looking here at figure 1, we're going to translate it. It just slides to the right and then up. How would the notation change if you started at figure 2 and moved to figure 1? What would we need to do if we were moving from figure 2 over to figure 1? We would take all the points of figure 2. What would we do with those? We would take every x and subtract this a value, and then we would take every y and do what with it? We would subtract the b value. That's how you could go from figure 2 back to figure 1. Sometimes that'll be a question in the homework. What would the preimage be if your image was located here? You would need to go backwards and then back down. When graphing a translation, we're going to first graph the preimage. You're going to label the vertices. You can label them with the letters. We're going to use the coordinate translation rule, which would be something similar to this. Definitely something like that with the numbers in there typically. We're going to use the coordinate translation rule given to find the coordinates of the, what's the new shape called? Of the image. We're going to graph the image, and we're going to label those vertices. Typically, we're going to be sure to use the prime notation. A prime, B prime. We put the little mark right above it, the apostrophe. So now we're going to move on to the second page. We're going to graph quadrilateral KLMN using these coordinates. So 0 for your x, down 2 for your y, that's point K. 4 to the right, 3 up, that's point L. 5 over, 2 up, that's point M. 6 over, 1 down, this is point N. So we have KLMN. Now we're going to find the image of each vertex after this translation. Here's your rule. Okay, this is called a rule. X comma Y, you have your arrow. X minus 4, that tells you what you need to do with every point. Y plus 2 tells you what you need to do for the Y coordinate for every point. So we're going to take our X, or actually our K, and we're going to move to the left 4. And then we're going to take our Y value and move up 2. And that becomes K prime. So this is located at -4, 0. You can do the math. So now we're going to do L prime. We're starting at 4, and we're going to move 4 to the left. And we're starting at 3, and we're going to add 2 to it. So our L prime should be 0, 5. If we take our L, we're going to move 4 to the left and 2 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is located at 0, 5. We label that L prime. Our M prime, we're going to start at 5. We're going to move our points 4 to the left. Take your Y, which is 2. And what are we going to do with that? We're going to move up 2. So we have M prime, which is 5 minus 4, which is 1. 2 plus 2, which is 4. Or you could just come right to your graph and move 4 to the left and 2 up. So this becomes M prime, because that's our new location. Same idea for N prime. Take your 6 minus your 4, take your -1 plus the 2. So N prime ends up being 2, 1. 4 to the left, 2 up. That's at 2, 1. That location is called N prime. Right here. So we have our new figure, K prime, L prime, M prime, and N prime. Notice how all the same size and shape stay exactly the same. Kn is the same length as K prime, M prime. The angles are all the same. Nothing changes except its location. It's just been slid over. It's a slide. The image of this rule is called P prime, Q prime. The M points are at -3, 4, and 2, 1. We're going to find out where we started from. You might like to consider a picture for this. We're going to go 4 to the left, actually 3 to the left and 4 up. That's P prime. We're going to go 2 to the right and 1 up. That's Q prime. So this is where we ended. We started somewhere and we followed this rule. In this rule, we moved to the right 4 and then we went down 7. So where would we have to be if from our original point we moved to the right 4 and then down 7? We'd have to be much higher. So what we're going to do, we're going to work backwards. We're going to subtract 4 from this. We're going to add 7 to this. then we'll be subtracting 4 and adding 7. So this will give us our P location. So when we add the 4 and subtract the 7, we're right where we need to be for the prime. So negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. 4 plus 7 is 11. So we know that our point P would have to be located at negative 7, 11. This is if we're working backwards. If we're looking for the preimage, if we're given the image. Up here, we were given the preimage and we had to find the image. Now we're going to take Q. We're going to move to the left 4. We're going to take our Y. And we're going to move up 7. So our original Q location has to be at negative 2, 8. So if we were at negative 2, 8, then we could move 4 to the right and 7 down, following this rule, and we would land at Q prime. So these 2 points seem accurate. Now you go ahead and plot out triangle RST. Alright, I've graphed my RST. Now we're going to find the image, the new shape, of each vertex after we follow this rule. So you go ahead and apply this rule to every one of those points. Move 1 to the right and 3 down. Move 1 to the right, 3 down. There's our new shape, R prime, S prime, and T prime. We followed this rule with our original given triangle coordinates. Now if we're given a figure, we have our original DEF, which is our preimage. Our image is D prime, E prime, and F prime. Pay close attention to the little apostrophes, little dashes, tick marks up in the corner of each of those letters. That makes it the image. This is your image. What is the rule? What rule was applied to DEF to make D prime, E prime, and F prime? We know that a rule is going to look like this. So you have to start with your X, comma, Y, your arrow, X. Now what are we doing to every X value? You have to decide, are you moving to the right or are you moving to the left to get to your final location? We've moved a positive direction because it's to the right, 5. Once you were there, your Y value is going which direction? You have to decide if it's going up or if it's going down. It's going up 3. So D prime is located 5 over and up 3 from D. E prime, 5 over and up 3. F prime, 5 over and up 3. Every one of the points of the original shape is moved that same distance and direction. Okay, here's our rule. Go ahead and try to find the image of this location. If this is your beginning point, your preimage, what is the image of -1, 5? So we'd say that -1 needs to add 3 to it. Your 5 needs to subtract 2 from it. So your new location is going to be 2, 3. What is the image of 6, 3? So what is the image? Asking you if this is where you're starting from, where are you going? What is the image of this point? So we know we're going to start at 6. And what are we going to do to the 6? Add 3 to it. What are we going to do to the y value? Subtract 2 from it. So that gives us 9, 1. Now here's that tricky one. What is the preimage? So this is your image. What is the preimage? Where did you start if you ended here? Now we have to work backwards. So we're going to take our -4 and we're going to subtract 3. We're going to take our -1 and we're going to add 2. So that puts us at -7, 1. That concludes our notes for translations for Unit 2.